energy, your attention, your thoughts and feelings to be within you. And rest in a moment of sacred silence now. In silence, in the place where rest vibrate with pure life. This is the place where music is born. It is the place where we give birth to divine ideas. It is what some call the fertile void. Silence between notes. And just as the sunrise slowly emerges, we recognize and realize our own innate gifts. It is my job as well as yours to take time to go within, in the quiet, to be still and know the truth of who and what we are, and allow that truth to be born in us. Just as Christmas acknowledges the birth of that which we call the Christ, the one who demonstrated this idea of the Christ within all of us. We can choose to take the time and be still and realize the birthing of our own consciousness that is taking place in every moment. Beloved Spirit, you are the very breath we breathe. Within the cells of every part of our being. You are our soul, our mind, our heart, our spirit. Every part of our being, every bit of life as we recognize it. Infused and animated in, through, and as pure life, divine life. This is the season of realizing the gift of life, symbolized by Christmas. As we acknowledge our own Christ self now. For in doing so, it enables us to recognize it in others. Thank you, God. Thank you, Mother, Father God. The divine masculine and feminine within me, within all of us. As the wholeness, the pure spirit that we are in truth, we are ever so grateful. Thank you for the truth that indeed sets us free to celebrate and savor life in this moment and in each to come. Thank you all for being here. I love meditation. It's something I learned from James Philip Freeman when I was at Unity Village as a ministerial student. He said he would write a Sunday lesson or a class lesson, but he said he never wrote a meditation. He said that was when he got out of the way and let spirit take flight. And oftentimes, spirit will guide me to something as a springboard. Maybe it's a word, it's a paragraph, it's a sentence. But when it's time, what I get is, okay, you got it, now get out of the way. And let it move in through us. And I believe that's what the gift of life is really about. You know, we are given this wonderful gift. And it is truly a gift. And I know where I speak because I've flatlined before, and trust me, it's a great big huge gift, okay? When you come out of what was considered flatline, taking a breath, drinking a sip of water has new meaning. There's a quote by Mary Oliver that I love. It's one of my favorites. She asked this wonderful question. What is it that you want to do with this one wild, precious thing called your life? Really, what do you want to do with your life? Yes, dear.
Enjoy it.
Enjoy it. Whoa. How many self-ordained martyrs? Come on, I'm one of them, I'll admit it. I had a good teacher, it was my mom and my grandmother, okay? It was a family tradition. And, you know, there's that goofy quote in the Bible that says, the sins of the fathers will da-da-da-da-da upon da-da. It's like, oh, cut it already. Haven't we done that enough?
Yes.
Enough, yes, Charlotte?
Yes.
Yes, I agree. So, for those of us who might have a tiny inkling, and I always have to laugh the idea, you know, the whole thing of, you know, if you want to make God laugh, just say what your plans are. And the whole universe is just cracking up. So, if we're dealing with any challenges in the process of moving forward into the next step, in whatever season of life we're in, do you notice that you might come into like what seems like a brick wall occasionally, or some obstacles, or some protocol or politics, or we just come in with stuff, don't we? Or maybe our body starts acting up. You know, it's like you're scheduled to speak someplace, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, I think I'm getting laryngitis or something. Well, that's not going to work too well, is it? It's interesting. It's a nice word, isn't it? It's a polite word. It's interesting sometimes how things work out, though. Do you suppose Spirit in the universe really has our highest good in mind?
Yes.
Yeah. Sometimes what seems to be a dead end isn't. Maybe it's an arrow going, sweetheart, I don't want you here, I want you over there. Because that's where you are going to come into full bloom. Because isn't that what we're about in being alive? We are seeds in God's sweet garden of life. Now, I was in Tucson again recently with my daughter, God bless her, and my grandchildren, and they're going through challenges. And my grandbabies are tiny. My granddaughter's only 9 months old. My grandson turned 2 last July. My daughter is, she'll be 25 this month. Okay, so she's very young still to have these little babies. And she works, and she goes to school full time. So she's got 2 plates full, honestly. And one of the places people her age, I know, love to vent, because venting is almost a hobby for some people. She's one of them, God love her. She grew up in Unity. Sometimes I think, hey, I know I took her to Sunday school. I know she knows this stuff. But you know, we all have selective memory. And when we're in our stuff, what happens? Well, with her and her age group, Facebook, the venting, whining, griping, and complaining comes up a lot.
Yes.
Well, I'm on Facebook too. So Mom kind of interjects some stuff on occasion. So this is, I just wanted to, this is what I wrote on her Facebook page. It was like, I thought I would just share with you. Life is about the choices you make. You have to be proactive on your own behalf. Be the light and love you are. Honor your gift of life by living it on purpose. Because it's easy, isn't it? Especially if you turn on the news, you read a newspaper, you listen maybe to your neighbor complain about all the yada yada whatever blank blank stuff. It's easy to fall into that. But how wonderful is it that Christmas comes in December? Isn't it perfect, really? Now, here's the funny thing. The authorities say that Jesus wasn't really born in December. Honestly, I could give a flip. Really. Who cares? You know, I've studied the Bible, I've taught it at seminary level, whatever. I think December 25th is the perfect day for Christmas Day. Part of the reason is because we have the shortest amount of time, at least in this part of the world, shortest number of daylight hours, correct? Mm-hmm. Longest part of darkness. What better time could we have to celebrate Christmas? Because I don't know about you, but I've had some dark nights of the soul. I have had some long, rough roads. And what better time than having that beacon of light, that ray of hope, that inspiration that stirs up the faith within us, than in our darkest hours. So how perfect is it if they ever said, oh no, we found out he was actually born on August 18th, and so we're moving Christmas, I would say, oh no, you're not. Not while I'm on watch. I like Christmas right where it is. And I love the lights. In fact, this time of year, I purposely go for my daily walk at sunset, because we've had some great sunsets lately. And the cool thing is then as I'm walking back through the neighborhood, everybody starts turning on their Christmas lights. So I get to see the lights in the heaven, and then I get to see the lights in the streets on the houses. And the lights to me are a great reminder. It's like what Jesus taught. Honey, you are the light of the world. Let your light so shine. And we're not meant to cover it up with a bushel basket. And to me, the bushel basket reminds me of this stuff, the challenges, the problems, the labels and the stuff that maybe other people, whether it's family, in society, or anything else, wants to label us with. It's like they're trying to take our jacket or our cloak. It's like, here, can I just like cover up your light here? It's like, I don't think so. No, thank you. Don't you dare. You're meant to beam radiantly. Because that's who and what you are. It is your nature. Just as Jesus was the Christ and is the Christ, so are you. You are the Christ, incarnate in human form just as he was. The difference is he remembered it more often than I tend to. I have a little bit of spiritual amnesia going. And it seems to happen daily. So we do what we can to remember. Now, I love Advent. How many of you pay attention to Advent or look at it, read it, anything? Little bit, tiny bit. By the way, Unity does celebrate Advent. If any of you have an aversion to it from other church experiences, it's actually a really cool thing, okay? Unity has a different take on it though, and I love it. There's this little book that Unity puts out every year, and it's an Advent book. And it's really great. It's called The Glow of Christmas this year. And I'm going to share just a little bit about faith, because the first Sunday is focused on faith, and it says simply this: I have all the faith I need to overcome any challenge. Could you own that? Can you affirm that for yourself? Okay. Centered in the Christ within, I am strong, confident, and clear. It's pretty Unity, isn't it? And it's Advent, which is it's our preparation. It's sort of like as a woman is in the last month of her pregnancy, ready to give birth, and we are ready. We're preparing ourselves to give a greater realization, a greater awareness of our Christ self, of our divinity. That's what this is about. It says, as I calmly make wise choices, that's a good one. Anybody ever not make any wise choices? As I wisely make these choices, greater good unfolds in my life. I look past outer appearances and release any worries or concerns. Anyone have a worry or concern about anything on the planet? Suppose you could use this. I could. With God, all things are possible. And where is God? Within me, within everyone, within my daughter, within your family, within your friends, your neighbors, your job, everywhere. It says, and God is active within me now and always, always, always. I know that I am whole, worthy, and loved. There is nothing lacking or missing from the truth of who I am. Jesus came as the example, not the exception. And I think that's the whole point of why we celebrate Christmas every year, why we celebrate Easter, why we do Thanksgiving. We have these annual reminders that we call holidays to help us remember and to live from that place. It says, looking ahead to the celebration of Jesus' birth, I eagerly anticipate new possibilities being born in me. Faith is my constant companion, and I am grateful. That's what Advent's about. So if you've ever been a little, let's keep Advent at arm's length, I don't know, that word just, sometimes we have little blips, and sometimes we're not even totally sure why. If you haven't tried Advent, you might want to. Now, Unity recognizes Jesus as representing our spiritual awareness. So where is yours? If I were to ask you to describe where you're at with your spiritual awareness, what would you tell me?
Awakening, expanding.
Okay, good. Anyone else?
Inner work.
Inner work. And what does that look like? How do you go about that? What do you do?
Be aware.
Be aware. How do you do that?
With practice.
With practice, okay. And what is part of your practice?
To watch my thoughts, watch my feelings.
And so what do we do as we're watching them and we notice there's sort of a blip on the screen? What do we do?
Make an attempt to go, okay, not this one.
Go higher.
Go higher. Come up higher. Great. Very good. Thank you. You know, Jesus came as a way shower to show us the way, and I believe that his birth is symbolic of our choice to experience the fullness of life, the gift of life. You know, he was called the Messiah, and he was proclaimed as the Messiah of the Jews, and yet a lot of the Jews rejected him. Why? Why did they reject him? I know some of you are taking credit classes. Come on. Why did they reject him?
Wasn't the type of Messiah they were looking for.
What were they looking for?
Warrior.
king.
Thank you. The warrior. They wanted revenge. They wanted their enemies annihilated. And isn't that interesting? They had been persecuted. They had been through all kinds of stuff. They wanted retaliation. So this Prince of Peace wasn't cutting it. They didn't want a dove. They didn't want any make peace and love. And it's like, are you kidding? We want him dead. They wanted all of their enemies wiped off the planet. Jesus came with a message of love. Love thy neighbor. That didn't exactly fit, did it? You know. So the good news is, this message stuck. And we're still talking about it today. And the Fillmores recognized what he was talking about and the symbolism in it, and about letting our life shine, and the precious gift each and every person's life is, that life is this wonderful sacred gift. And one of the things that they came up with was the idea of our 12 powers. Well, December is designated as life, and the color is red. What a wonderful synchronicity, isn't it? That beautiful, bright, happy Christmas red is symbolic of the gift of life. Now, William Marsh wrote a book titled How to Use Your 12 Gifts from God. And I love this book. I've taught it several times. And in and on the gift of life, he says this: awareness is key. The destiny of the earth is in the hands and consciousness of humankind. The greatest thing an individual can do is dedicate himself or herself to the development of consciousness. You are more than wise, you are wisdom. You are more than loving, you are love. You are more than living, you are life itself. And then I wrote after that, all of your gifts are within you right now, waiting for you to pay attention, activate, and use them. The number one thing you need to do is develop your awareness of your own divinity. And isn't that what Jesus was telling us? Isn't that what the Fillmores were telling us since the 1800s? Divine life pours in and through us and emanates as us 24/7. So if I were to walk up and hand you these flowers and say, this is my gift to you, will you accept them?
Of course.
Thank you.
Thank
You're welcome. Okay. And if I took these over here to you and said, would you please accept these?
These are mine.
That's divine order, isn't it? Here's the thing. right? When your lungs are saying inhale, do you go, oh no, I'll do it later? Here, I'll put it back up. We are given this wonderful gift of life. And that's one of the reasons I paint flowers so much. They're symbolic for me. It's a reminder for me to come into full bloom and do not hold back. How many of us have held back in one way, shape, form, or another just in the last 24 hours? Or week, or month, or year, or decade? I couldn't count the number of times I have. I mean, really. What are we waiting for? There's something I want to share with you, and I may have shared this with you before, but I'm at the risk of repeating myself, I'm going to anyway. And it's from one of my favorite books titled Wide Open by Donna Markova. It's titled, If Not Now, Then When? Let us swing wide all the doors and windows of our hearts on their rusty hinges, so we may learn how to open to life. Let us see the light in the other and honor it, so we may lift one another on our shoulders and carry each other along. Let holiness move in us, so we may pay attention to its still small voice. And last, give ourselves to life fully with both hands. To accept the gift of life, to cherish it, to honor it, and to live. In Mr. Warsh's book, he goes on to say this. Birth is being born again into a higher consciousness, into a higher awareness. In the process of soul development, you are born countless times. Every time you receive a new insight or inspiration where it alters your consciousness, you are born again. You are a new you. Each and every time. The Christ in you is ever urging you to attain your next level in consciousness. Being willing to move on to that next level, it will demand that you rely on Spirit. And it is your willingness to do so, to act as a willing channel that lifts you from one level of consciousness to another. When you see a wonderful new challenge, I love that phrase. How many of us can actually say when we have a challenge that's in our face, that we can call it a wonderful new challenge? Just realize that it's time to move on to new ways and new insights. Allow Spirit within to work in you and through you. You are being polished as a bright light. So let that light shine. Honor and accept your gift of light. And I'm going to invite you now for just a moment. Close your eyes. Go into your heart. And if it feels appropriate, you might even want to put your hand up to your heart. Living, loving Spirit within us all, we recognize we are indeed alive, alert, awake, and enthusiastic about our precious gift of life. And as we go about the coming days, we notice all of life's gifts. We open our minds and our hearts, whether it's to helpful people or to opportunities for us to help another. We notice nature's beauty. And as we see the Christmas lights, they are reminders of the light within us all. We are truly grateful as we step forward into this season of inspiration and joy. to act with kindness and charity, with compassion and love.